Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
The National Stock Exchange of India has been actively involved with initiatives to educate the young generation of our country on the importance of financial management. One such initiative is NSE FinWiz that focuses on educating and advising the young workforce of the country on wealth management to enhance financial literacy and to empower
Insurance
them.
is for protection and investment is for growth.
Another program facilitated by NSE IPFT is NSE Financial Quest. This inter-school financial quiz contest goes an extra mile by educating the young students on fundamentals of finance.
On the buzzer, what is this? It's the formula for the simple interest. Simple interest is the right answer.
Under the NSE Financial Quest Base Camps banner, the program engages students around the year through workshops on various topics, projects, interactive videos and quizzes.
DiCaprio is bouncing checks of Pan Am.
Plus 75 Plus 75.
To facilitate these two programs, NSE along with CNBC TV18 has travelled across the country to bridge the wide knowledge gap in terms of finance. In this episode of NSE FinWiz, we are all set to achieve our objectives once again by gauging young professionals in a new city.
Thyrocare is India's first fully automated diagnostic laboratory with a focus on providing quality at affordable costs to laboratories and hospitals in India and abroad. With meticulously created systems and a trained manpower, Thyrocare has cemented its positions as a quality service provider in the diagnostics industry. The company's USP is its effort to innovate and remain at par with the global standards by providing the best quality with cost-effective pricing. NSE FinWiz, along with the experts, visited the headquarters of Thyrocare in Navi Mumbai to address the significance of financial planning and wealth management to its employees with the theme Dreams Come True.
I'm a moderate risk taker, so not very much. To start off, I have an insurance plan to protect, and this insurance is life and mediclaim combined. Apart from this, we got a real estate investment, which I at times suspect whether it could be called as a fixed asset or a fixed liability. Apart from this, I've simultaneously started with the LSS, a bit of it, so roughly 10% of the investment would be LSS. So this is all.
I think given the fact that country is growing fast, the economy is booming, it really does not make sense to invest in the conventional methods where you get 7-8% interest. I think it makes sense to take a little more risk and explore the new options that we have, like mutual funds, stocks. I think it makes sense to invest in funds.
Wealth management is truly very important for all the employees. Just because of a reason, the mean age of my organization is 25, and people in my organizations, most of them are freshers. So it's like freshers joining into an organization, and when they start investing there, they plan their wealth properly. In a period of time, they'll be in a position to achieve whatever goals they want to achieve. So it's truly very important to have a wealth management.
Hello and welcome to Season 4 of NSE FinWiz, powered by CNBC TV18, and I'm your host Nitya Balakrishnan. Today my team and I are in the campuses of one of India's leading pathology labs and diagnostic centres, Thyrocare in Navi Mumbai. On this episode, I'm joined by two very special guests, Kalpesh Ashar and Harshvardhan Rungta. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. Well, if you do talk about Indians, we're very good at saving money. But when you talk about multiplying money, I don't think there is that awareness about how can you make your money multiply. So when you talk about investing, it comes down to that typical savings bank account, FD, NPS, PPF. What, according to you, are some of the new age tools or financial products that you were mentioning earlier?
So I think the difference between saving and investment first comes to the fore. When you say you save money, it's not the money which you keep locked in a cupboard or under your pillow or in your savings account. That is not doing anything for you. It's just your mental peace that you're seeing that money in front of you. That's about it. It's not multiplying at all. When you invest that money and with a definite purpose, with a definite time frame and with a definite goal, then the options open up. So when you say that, what are the means of multiplying that? Obviously today we are in the world of equities. So we have a very good Indian economy. The Indian stock markets are doing well as a byproduct of that. The economy still comes first. And all of us today are, I think, privileged that we have different means to approach the equity market, or even I would say the capital markets, because everything is not equities. So you have options in fixed income also. So you have an option where you can probably earn better returns than a conventional bank FD. You can not buy direct shares from the equity market, but you have mutual funds which will do the job for you. Those are the means which will help you accelerate your growth. You should look at those means. How do I do that? But that also, the decision of how much to invest, where to invest, ultimately boils down to your financial profile and your cash flows. That is very important. How much can you do? Because everything sounds rosy, everything sounds good, that equity markets give this returns, but not everyone is lucky in that. Because some of them, out of some emotional factors, or probably a envious factor that, my friend earned so much money in equity markets and I should be doing that, probably that might not be the right way for you to do it. He was an expert doing it, he found the results. What is the right way for you? You will get the benefits, but in your own capacity, in your own rights.
But when we talk about investing into the equity markets, the first thing that comes to mind is the volatility. And while there seems to be a certain sense of security when you talk about regular PFs or regular savings bank account FDs, there seems to be hesitation because equity markets are volatile at the end of the day.
I would suggest volatility is an inherent part of equity markets. Now what happens? Markets are going to be volatile. What is important is, can you ride that volatility?
Sure.
Can you take benefit of the volatility, or can you get scared of that volatility? While somebody might find a good price to buy, somebody else may be scared to sell it, and that is why he's selling it. So only then will a transaction take place. If all people think is positive, then a transaction is never going to take place. So there has to be volatility. Now the question is, can you ride that volatility? Now how do you ride that volatility is something which an investor should learn. Should not rather get scared of volatility.
Sure.
Now how do you ride that volatility? You need to invest regularly into the market. Now, that is the concept of systematic investment plan, which is SIP. Now if you're going to invest at every level into the market, so markets are going to go up and down, but if you kept buying at all levels, your average cost of buying or purchase comes down considerably. Now if that is going to be your average cost of purchase and the markets keep doing up and down, and that is what you're doing at every level, at one point in time you will find that you will never be in a situation where you'll incur a loss. Now that is how you ride the volatility.
Well, on that note, it's time to take a very quick breather right here on NSE FinWiz, but stay tuned. A whole host of queries answered on taxation on the other side. Welcome back. We're still in conversation with Kalpesh Ashar and Harshvardhan Rungta here at Thyrocare in Navi Mumbai. And straight onwards then to our core topic of discussion, which is taxation. How do you have to keep in mind saving, in terms of tax exemption and that particular slab really, when you talk about investing, where does that have to feature?
Well, if you talk about investing, I would suggest that you leave the tax benefits that come along with it as a secondary element to touch upon. The biggest mistake investors make is that they look at the tax benefit a particular product is giving and make an investment. It has to be the other way around. You are investing for a purpose. Now that purpose could be retirement, that purpose could be buying a house in future, could be a children's education, could be any other reason for that matter. Now, you have to understand that is your primary objective of investing money. Tax benefits that you're getting are going to be incidental benefits. Now let me give you an example. If you're going to save for retirement, which is probably 20 or 30 years away from now, we've understood equities being a good asset class for that particular time frame. If equities is a good asset class to invest for retirement benefits, you can invest into that asset class and choose an ELSS scheme. okay, which is an investment for which you get your tax benefits. Now, if you had required money after say 5 years for some other purpose, and you also want to save tax, you have a fixed deposit which gives you tax benefits and is for a period of 5 years. Now, let's look at the other way around. You needed money for after say probably 3 or 4 years from now. You've chosen PPF as an investment instrument because PPF is widely perceived and is possibly the best debt investments you can make. Now, PPF has a maturity of 15 years, though there is partial withdrawal allowed in between, but there is going to be a very limited amount of withdrawal that you're allowed. You needed money after 3 years. You wanted to save tax, you put money into PPF. Is this a right investment decision? It is not. It's most certainly not, because you need money after 3 years, but PPF has a lock-in of 15 years. It does not match, though you're getting the tax benefit, but the purpose of that money is not being served. So in fact, there is a reason why tax incentives are given. They're given for you to be motivated to invest into them, not to be the only factor to invest into.
Towards Feb and March, we see a whole horde of insurance schemes being purchased, and simply because to avail benefits under ATC. Talk to us really about how you would look at securing that tax and exemption benefit, but not really jumping to insurance or just one tool right at the very end.
So that's basically picking up from what Harshvardhan said, that our section ATC is actually designed very beautifully, and every product has a certain reason behind it. So if you were to see, there are certain benefits given for investments and there are certain benefits given for expenses. Even those expenses which you were to see, they've given it to your children's tuition fees, which you cannot actually not take a benefit of because you have tuition fees being paid. Similarly, you have the expense of paying insurance premiums. Now, one more word which he rightly used was social security. And when you use the word security, protection, automatically the word insurance links up to that. And insurance by far is to protect. If you don't want protection, then you're looking at investments. So fortunately, unfortunately, there are certain products in the market, I think more abundantly available, which are insurance cum investment products in the insurance sector. And we have this horde of schemes coming up as soon as you are near the first week of Feb or something, proclaiming huge tax benefits and all goodies packed into it. And the normal taxpayer who hasn't planned for that current financial year's section ATC falls prey to these things. It is not for any purpose. He just wants to save tax. So if we don't have a tax requirement, we probably would not have looked at that product. So if you see insurance as a standalone, we surely propagate and we surely advocate, I would say, more strongly, the term plan. Because that is probably the best instrument you could have to protect your family once you are not there. That gives you ample protection, adequate protection on your life for a very, very reasonable premium. And you compare that premium to an insurance policy which has got investments embedded into it, you will find it's almost 10 times more. Now, just for the sake of tax, you don't want to get into a folly like this. So you want adequate life insurance, go for a term insurance. Those premiums also are eligible under section ATC. So insurance as a standalone product should not be looked far beyond than a term plan.
Before we actually go to the other tools that you've mentioned, let me take a query that's been raised by Aditya here. The fact that ULIP was a very popular tool of availing tax benefits earlier on, is that really the smartest way of going ahead and investing when you talk about, keeping taxation in mind? Let's have Aditya, the microphone to Aditya, please.
Segregate the word ULIP. It's basically unit-linked insurance plans, okay? So in that, the word unit is to be you need to look at that with the context of mutual funds also. So when you have mutual fund units, it's basically the same units which are bought by a mutual fund or by this ULIPs. And like I earlier described, that the hybrid nature of an insurance cum investment product is at its core in a ULIP. Although the ULIPs are investing in the capital markets, in probably the equity markets also, they are a long-term wealth creation tool. But because of I would say the ambiguous costs which are in there are many opaque costs which are there in a ULIP, make it a bit of an expensive product. Now, the regulators, everyone was looking at ULIPs with a negative eye as much as I think last 2-3 years. Of late, they've come out in a revised forms with a lot of transparency in a ULIP also. But what I'm trying to mainly segregate here is that ULIPs are still a hybrid product. It combines insurance, which is not adequate, and the investment component in that has got many costs embedded in it. Whereas if you invest in a mutual fund, and like if you said a ELSS or something, there's a certain cost which you're paying, and that's about it. There's no other costs involved by investing in a pure mutual fund. So you know what you're investing in it, what are the price you're paying for it, and what are the returns also you are going to get for the cost which you're paying.
All right, on that note, we'll slip into a quick break right here on NSE FinWiz, but Q&A with employees at Thyrocare on the other side. So good to have you right back here on Season 4 of NSE FinWiz. It's time to throw the floor open for questions. In fact, if we can have a quick show of hands and the microphone to the gentleman in the second row, please.
My salary is 30,000. Maximum I can save per month is 10,000. So what will be the right choice for investment?
All right, Harsh, if we can have you take that.
Well, 10,000 per month is a very good investment to do and achieve all your goals. I mean, it's nowhere less in any form. Now, what you need to do before deciding a product, because what your question is very specifically saying, which is the best product for me to invest into? Well, I would suggest first you identify what you need to invest for. Do you need an insurance cover is your first question. What do you need to plan for? Do you have children which you need to save for higher education or marriage? Do you want to save for retirement? Or do you have some liabilities which you need to pay off after a while? So first you make a wish list. The way to start is, I wish to, possibly acquire a property after X number of years. The value will be approximately so much. I need to protect myself. I need to buy insurance. That is going to be a wish list. I need to save for my children's education or marriage, which could be after X number of years. And I need to save for retirement. You will have 5-6 questions. I need to take my family out on a holiday. So you have to make a wish list like this. And then this is called identifying your goals. Then we need to quantify those goals. And as I said, 10,000 per month is definitely a good amount to plan your finances.
All right, we have time for one final question. So can we have the microphone to the gentleman in the third row, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pratik Vans, and my question is, what are the ETFs, and is it a good way to investment?
All right, Kalpesh, if we can have you answer that query, please.
So basically, when you say exchange traded funds, it's basically you are trying to replicate the model of the underlying security which you have. So today you have a Nifty based ETF, you have a bank ETF. What you're doing is you can buy that in real time. So you can buy the units of the ETF at a particular time. So if you want to buy, you track the market, you track the prices, and say for example you want to buy the Nifty, which is a replication of the index, the ETF which you're buying. You can precisely buy it at say 10:28 a.m. in the morning, and if you wish to even sell it, you can even sell it the same afternoon or a couple of hours or something, or could hold it. So what you're trying to do here is you're buying the entire index of a particular underlying security, and you're buying it real time. Whereas in a mutual fund, you're not buying it real time. So the NAVs of a mutual fund are probably at the end of the day, which you determine an NAV. Whereas an ETF which you buy, you're buying it real time. And surely it is a good way to invest. It is also a good, I think a safer option than buying direct equity. So you could look at ETFs as a part of your portfolio.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, we're absolutely timed out on this edition of NSE FinWiz. Kalpesh Ashar and Harshvardhan Rukta, thanks so much for joining us. And from all of us here at Thyrocare in Navi Mumbai, thanks for watching and have a great weekend.
First of all, thank you CNBC, thank you very much for this wonderful show. Basically, I'm purely a technical person. I least understand finance, and thank you very much for making me understand basics in finance. Basically, as most of the common people, I was doing the same mistake, that I was looking at a product first and then deciding to go for it. but this has really alarmingly changed my thinking about it. So hereafter I will definitely think about my requirements first, and then I'll check for a product.
The session was very insightful, and definitely there will be some radical changes that I'll be making in my portfolio and the approach that I've been taking so long in terms of investments and investing my surplus funds. So initially I was pretty heavy on traditional and conventional products like FDs, RDs and TDs and NPS and PPFs. But after having attended this session, I will obviously think about investing in more of financial assets, financial instruments like ETFs and of course stocks, mutual funds, SIPs and other very beautiful options that they structured products that they suggested.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.